I mean, we've seen these images in the last video.
Yes.
This is actually Hassan. A Turkish citizen. His name is Hasan Uyandi. He was part of the group, and he was treated like that by the police.
Yes, and I think that, you know, we talked about the other sort of stress-related illnesses. I mean, this is just brutal physical trauma to the body. And you can see that he's been hit with a blunt object with enough strength to create a significant amount of bruising, with that swelling underneath the bruising, which is called a hematoma, which is called from internal bleeding, when the larger veins actually burst under the skin. And if I'm not mistaken, these are day 6 post-exposure to trauma. So, you know, God only knows how bad the injuries were initially and whether he was able to sort of have his full range of movement of his knee and the joints that have been affected. But you can see substantial bruising there to both legs, and that's caused by a blunt object hit with considerable force to the back of the knees. And they target that area because that's the area where there's maximum sensitivity, just in that area which is behind the knee, called the cubital fossa. So over there, there's large blood vessels, and it creates maximum trauma in that area. There is another point I wanted to bring up. This was, again, I think, Brother Hassan, who was demonstrating the bruises to the back of his legs. There is an extended interview of him, and I think it's been published on our YouTube channel. And he, in it, says something quite revealing. He says that after day 3, the detainees, particularly those who were beaten quite more severely, they were given tetanus boosters.
Yes, that's right.
Now, that's really interesting because if you administer, because there are 2 types of vaccines. So tetanus, which which works slowly, that you give when you're a little child and as you grow up, and then there's tetanus boosters. These are immunoglobulins that you give to people who have had deep penetrating injuries. Okay. Okay. So these are actually antibodies that you inject into the system, and they work straight away. And he said they did not put this on record. Okay, so the beatings had to be of a certain severity and brutality to be able to give them tetanus boosters 3 days after the assault. So this, again, seems like a very calculated thing. They're like, well, look, in the medical world, if you fall and you break a bone and you come in with an open wound to the hospital, to the emergency department, we're going to give you a tetanus booster, for sure. Because your risk of contracting this serious disease, this illness, is very, very high. So they've been injecting them with tetanus boosters, which again kind of reflects what kind of punishment they were facing in these detention camps.
So this was essentially them trying to cover their tracks in case something is exposed of theirs, of their activity in there. Is this what they were trying to do?
Well, oh my God. If one of those refugees gets tetanus, and then it is on a hospital record that they've contracted it after they were put here, I mean, it's a traumatic injury unless proven otherwise. This is the point, this is the conclusion of it. And if you take that to one of these human rights organizations with a paper from a doctor signed saying, yep, they got tetanus, well, what was the cause of that? But that is a major lawsuit for the Turkish authorities and the government.